Let's talk about something. Yes, it's good to be evidence-based. Yes, it's good to look at research. But as some recent research regarding low-dose naltrexone for fibromyalgia has shown, it's not the be-all and end-all. Like, yeah, you want to know it's safe, but you can't really tell if it's going to work until you try it, because we are an experiment of one. I'm Melissa from Melissa vs. Fibromyalgia, and I have had fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome for many years, and I have been sharing my journey for the last 10 years. And I have taken myself from moderate to mild on the Fibromyalgia Impact Questionnaire rating scale, and I share my journey so that you can get this information, because I had to dig this information all up for myself and learn it for myself. And that feeds into today's topic. So we are an experiment of one. I watch a lot of doctors who talk about ketogenic diet and that kind of thing, and a lot of research around it. And they talk about N equals 1. They talk about the experiment of one, and that is what it is to live with these symptoms. Because fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome and even endometriosis, they don't manifest in the same way. There is, like you've seen it, there is never a consensus on anything. What works for one person won't work for another. And the variety in how something affects someone is also different, because we are different. Our whole body is involved. So yeah, you might have chronic insomnia, you might have chronic fatigue, and you might have chronic pain, but they're going to manifest differently, and they're going to talk together differently. And which one you experience like with the most difficulty is going to be different. And your likes and your preferences and your context and where you live is going to be different. You know, like if you've got 0 kids, it's going to be very different to what I can and will do with 4 kids. And everything is different, and we'll have different intolerances, and it's a whole thing, right? You can see that you can't just slap a label on someone and then make a judgment about everyone else with the same label. I'm not even sure fibromyalgia is the right label. I'm not even sure if they're going to keep it as a diagnosis, because they're going to realize the underlying root cause. But that's a topic for another day. But here's where this all started from. There was a piece of research on low-dose naltrexone for fibromyalgia, and they concluded that they weren't really sure that it was helpful, because their study parameters did not reflect the real world. And this is the problem, okay? Low-dose naltrexone it's a medicine that helps a lot of different conditions, but particularly fibromyalgia and CFS. And there is promising research, and there's a lot of patient research. And you can look up the LDN Research Trust to learn more about the different conditions it helps. And I'll leave a link below, because I have several blog posts and an ebook about it that you can check out if you want to know more. But the thing about it is that it's a tricky one. So what dose works for you might be different to the dose that works for me. So they talk about 4.5 milligrams, but really people take kind of from 1 milligram to 8 milligrams. Like, there is a big variety. And some people take 2 doses a day. And you have to build your dose slowly. So in these research studies, well, this one research study, they immediately started them at 4.5 milligrams, and they only did it for a couple of weeks. And then they wondered why it didn't help that many people. Some people never get to 4.5 milligrams. I don't take 4.5 milligrams. I take between 3.5 and 4. I go up and down depending on what's happening. At the moment, I'm on 4, but I don't tolerate 4.5. So if I was in that study, I would probably wash out. But also, 2 weeks is not long enough to see if anything helps. It took me months, because when you first start, and you finally like get all this stuff clearing out and things are happening in your body and it's responding to the medicine, and you've been sick for 20 years, it takes time. Things have got to get out, and your body has to adjust and whatever. There's a lot going on. 2 weeks is not enough. I would give it 6 weeks before you know. And that would be a very difficult, I guess it would be more expensive for a trial to run that long. I don't know. But the point is, you can't listen to a study that dumps people on one dose and doesn't do it for very long. We are an experiment of one. So I share all of this information because I want you to know about it, because it's still disappointing how many people can't access these things. Like, there are so many people who say to me, my doctor won't even try LDN. My doctor said something nonsense about it. My doctor's never heard of it. My doctor said she's not allowed to prescribe it. Well, they are allowed to prescribe it, and they can learn about it if they choose to. it's disappointing because there is a very low side effect profile. It's got a long safety history. We know that it is safe for a long period of use. People have been using it for a long time. That is a better profile than anything else. These doctors have been willing to give me gabapentin for years, but I've read the research. The percentage of people that it helps without side effects being very atrocious is quite low. Now, the people it does help without bad side effects, it helps them well, and it's wonderful. But the percentage of people for whom the side effects are bad and for whom it doesn't help is quite big, right? So why are you willing to try that before LDN? Who knows? But we are a sample size of one, and I'm sharing what works for me and what I've researched about to help you, but then you've got to take it and do your research as well. And I think that's really important to remember. We've all got to try our own things. So yes, low-dose naltrexone. Get rid of your personal intolerances, that things that you're not tolerating in your food. Try an elimination diet to see what suits you and what doesn't suit you, because you might be surprised something you're consuming every day might be contributing to inflammation or that tummy upset. Try all the things. And remember that you are in charge of this journey. You are the person driving this train. Because if you're not driving it, you're going to be left behind. If I hadn't taken over 10 years ago and said, okay, I've got to do this. I've got to figure this out myself. I've got to lead these, pieces of research for myself. I've got to experiment and I've got to lead these doctors. I would not be where I am now. I would not have low-dose naltrexone. I would not have tried yoga. I would not have my best tools in my toolkit. I would not have any of this. I would not have 4 beautiful children. I would not be recovering right now from surgery for endometriosis unless I had pushed for myself. I had to push hard and I had to fight. And I'm so sorry that we have to do that. But that's where we are. So do look at the research, do look at evidence-based, but do go and look at patient advocates as well, and join the groups and just listen, and then make your own assumptions, and then take the information to your medical team and say, this is what I want to try, this is the potential things that are going to happen, this is the side effect profile, this is what I expect will happen. Let them know that you're aware of all these things, and just say, please let me try it. Because when I take that approach with my doctors, it tends to go quite well. Obviously there's times where it's a no, or I don't know, or I'm not comfortable, but most of the time I get to try the things. So I'd really encourage you in all those ways. Think of yourself as an individual. Take off the label and look at the symptoms and the whole. Look at your whole body. Look at your whole experience. Let me know, how has this resonated with you? Have you kind of started to feel like this is a bit of an experiment, but you're on your own with it? Not on your own, but have you started to get that sense that you are very individual? Tell me, what are the key things you've tried that help? Because we all here in the community need to hear about it. So what are your best things that help you? Thank you very much for being here, and I'll catch you again soon.